Happy anniversary, brothers and sisters. My name is Camille Morales, and today, as we celebrate 40 years of CYA, I want to share how I experienced God's goodness and faithfulness in the way that He transformed my life through Christ's youth in action. Even before I was born, God was already using CYA to work in my life through my parents. Back in college, my parents, Luz Anis and Chito Morales, were invited to CYA, and through this, God transformed their lives. This laid the foundation for the way that they decided to live their lives, translating to the way that they decided to raise a family.
Luz and I came to know the Lord in CYA. I was from CYA FEU and Luz was from CYA Merinolden. We graduated in the same year, 1989, and we both decided to set aside our careers and work as CYA staffers for 3 years from 1989 to 1992. As CYA staffers, we were helping college students grow in the relationship with the Lord and were raising up young leaders for the Lord. When we got married in 1995, the Lord made it very clear to us that He wanted us to raise up a godly family. This meant strengthening our marriage and raising up our children in God's ways. We tried to be faithful to the Lord so our children can see real models. We brought them to Sunday masses and regular community prayer meetings so that they can experience the Lord's love and call for them.
We invested our time and resources to send them to summer camps, retreats, recollections, and other high-impact events. It was in these events where they got to know their peers, and soon we saw them forging bonds with other young people. We also opened our homes to their friends. At a certain point, our home was tagged as the first youth center in Quezon City. Titos and titas frequented our home. All this allowed them to appreciate our life in the Lord with brothers and sisters. As a result, our community became theirs as well. As they entered college, we had discussions on how college life will be. It will be a time for them to decide how they want to live their lives. Their choices can affect them in the future and even up to eternity. We didn't force them to go to CYA, but we shared with them how CYA helped us. We believed and trusted God has wonderful plans for them.
Before entering college, CYA was not new to me. Growing up, I've heard my parents talk about this movement that changed their lives for the better and how CYA paved the way for them to have a personal and serious relationship with the Lord. I felt like I lived their CYA days with them because of all the stories I've heard over the years, not to mention all the funny jokes and narratives that gave so much color to their experiences. Despite this, I wasn't jumping for joy and excited to join CYA right off the bat. I felt like I wanted to explore other organizations and other options because CYA will always be there if I did decide that I wanted to join. However, I was invited to a CYA mission trip in Baguio right before college, and it definitely wasn't long before I knew in my heart that the same God who called my parents to a relationship with Him through CYA was calling me to serve Him through CYA as well. It was clear to me why my parents were so compelled to share God's work in their life through CYA, to the point that I would tell Camille how excited I was for her to graduate so that we could go to CYA together and be in the same hub. Kay Kristo buong buhay, habang buhay is definitely the CYA motto because until now, even as a young professional, I am still serving as part of CYA. I was blessed to be given an opportunity by the Lord to continue His work by starting CYA After 6 just last year with a few other brothers and sisters. CYA After 6 is a CYA unit for young professionals, specifically fresh graduates, where we can continue practicing the call to be active witnesses of God, this time in the workplace.
As I entered college in Ateneo, CYA was never part of my plan, as I had doubts that my parents and my ate's life-changing experience would be the same case for me. As a teenager who grew up in a good and stable Christian family, I felt that that was good enough. CYA had nothing new to teach or offer me that I didn't already know. With college being a whole new avenue of experiences and opportunities, I had the mindset of doing things solely for my own benefit. Back then, CYA Ateneo was a very small, unrecognized organization with just around 13 members actively going to events, including the core. I remember being embarrassed because while other orgs would have their own room for their events, we would hold our events in places like the small hidden room at the back of the PE department. And malaki na yun for us. Despite my initial mindset entering college, I found myself becoming more active in CYA, not realizing that God was planting seeds in my heart through the people I encountered in CYA. From the moment I would enter a CYA event, people would make sure I felt welcomed and that I was never alone. On random days, my staffers would just invite me out for coffee, spending time to ask me how I am or to get to know me. I realized that people were not doing this because of any hidden agenda or because they needed something from me. These were genuine acts of love stemming from their own experience of God's love through their own brothers and sisters. In addition to this, I witnessed a culture where the leaders exemplified putting people first and an environment where people selflessly served others. I came to know men and women of good character, whose personal testimonies inspired me and who never shied away from worshiping God by using the gifts of the Spirit. What amazed me all the more was how these people were not people who were born into this, but came from different backgrounds. Yet they seemed even more convicted and on fire for the Lord. Experiencing all of these, CYA became less of an abstract idea my parents would share about, and more of a community where I experienced concrete manifestations of God's love through my brothers and sisters. I found myself wanting to grow in faith and to have a personal relationship with God. I started seeing my faith as my own and not just my parents' anymore. This desire to grow in faith and character led to a desire to serve others, one now rooted in the way I experienced God's love in my life. God then gave me an opportunity to serve Him in a greater capacity starting my third year, when I was invited to become part of the Service Council of CYA Ateneo. It was in this service during my last 2 years where God transformed me so much more, and I was just left in awe by the way that God revealed His goodness and faithfulness. Never in the way that I expected, but definitely in far better and more superior ways. It was when we were given the opportunity to be a recognized org and be part of the recruitment week after so many years, where God confronted my fear of being radical for Him, as He blessed us with over 175 sign-ups. It was when I spent hours crying to my mom as I struggled to help people confront sin and darkness in their lives, where God taught me to love even when it hurts. It was during the times I experienced frustration in evangelization as the time and effort I exerted did not result in the way that I expected, when God humbled me by making me see that my service is never about me, but about Him. It was through this struggle where I experienced His grace and where He transformed my heart. It was through these moments of darkness when God provided opportunities for His light to shine. And I was just amazed by the way that He was changing the lives of the people around me. It was in these moments where He walked with me and allowed me to experience His love all the more through my brothers and sisters. Kay Kristo buong buhay habang buhay. For Christ, all our lives, for the rest of our lives. Throughout my whole CYA journey, I have come to realize just how concrete this has been for me. From my parents' experience of being transformed by God, to experiencing this in my own personal way, to having had the privilege to see more lives being changed as well, all the more am I convicted of what we do. From a self-centered freshman who had no plans of joining CYA and who envisioned a totally different college experience, I am now currently serving as a new CYA staffer, strongly convicted by our mission and armed with a deeper purpose that goes beyond living for myself. Kay Kristo buong buhay habang buhay.